Much Ado About Nothing isn't considered one of Shakespeare's problem plays. We're not unhappy with the ending. We're mostly okay with it, though a lot of people dislike Claudio and have for hundreds of years. Cohorts used to call him the hateful cub. And no, Coleridge didn't talk like that. On the other hand, this is a play where somebody challenges his best friend to a duel to the death, and every sign of the text suggests he means it. This is a play in which a distraught bride on her wedding day fakes her own death on the advice of a friar. That happens in other places in Shakespeare. You may be familiar with the fake your own death on your wedding day because a friar suggested it plan. In other plays, it goes not well, not well at all. It leads right to tragedy. Tragedy is shot through this play. The prince says to Beatrice, "Truly, lady, you were born in a merry hour." And she says, "Not so, my lord." My mother cried. Shakespeare doesn't make a hard and fast distinction between comedy and tragedy, even when he gives us the generic closure of the comic happy ending. There is still pain, there is still loss. Childbirth involves suffering. His mother cried. Beatrice finishes it, but then there was a star danced, and under that was I born. When Benedict comes to challenge Claudio to a duel, Claudio and the prince can't actually process what's happening. They expect Benedict to play his accustomed role as the prince's jester, as Beatrice puts it, and can't quite understand that he has to walk out of the room and before they say he is in earnest. Look at Benedict's language in that scene. Look at it in the challenging scene. Pick pick a passage from Benedict. Pick a nice Benedict monologue because he's a monologuing kind of guy, and compare it to the language in which he speaks to Claudio and to the prince. Um, it is very different. It's restrained. And remember, in a Shakespeare play, how you speak is who you are, or mostly. Nothing expresses character in a Shakespeare play more than the character's language. The characters, on a real level, are their language. We're tempted to figure out Beatrice and Benedict's backstory because there are hints of it, but there are only hints of it. They don't actually have a backstory. There's just these words they say. That is who they are. It turns out Benedict is capable of speaking in an entirely different way than he's been speaking in Acts 1 and 2. Um, and has is actually a much more flexible and resourceful speaker than his more limited colleagues understand him to be. After he walks away, they say he's in earnest. In the last scene, the wedding, when they think, "Hey, yeah, I'm going to marry Beatrice. Claudia will marry Beatrice," and that's their proposed happy ending. They ask, "What's this February face?" There is a line at the end of the play in which Benedict says, to Claudio, "I thought to have beaten thee, but as you're like basically, but you're now my in-law. You're my wife's cousin's you're my wife's cousin's husband, so live unbruised." The actual words are "live unbruised," and paraphrasing the rest. And Claudio comes back with another bit of mockery. And all the line Benedict has is, "Well, we are friends." Now, often trying to sell a conventional happy ending, that is sold as, "Well, we are friends." Well, we're friends. It's actually fairly hard to do. You have to oversell it a little bit. Watch Ken Branagh in the movie trying to get too excited about, "Well, we are friends." Um, there's also there can also be this line reading, "Well, we're friends." Works perfectly well. It's the actor's choice. And I point out to you that in Shakespeare's English, friends doesn't just or even primarily mean what we mean by friends. Not the personal people not the personal associates we seek out out of personal sympathy and affection. It does mean that, but it also means your relatives, your allies, your family allies. "We are friends" means we are now connected by marriage. That is one reading. It's a real reading. It's a reading Shakespeare's audience would have heard. "I was going to kill you for my woman, but now that you're my prospective bride's cousin's prospective husband, I'm not going to kill you, right? Other things we learn from Romeo and Juliet: don't kill your bride's cousin. Certainly not on day one. There are better reception than that, really. Benedict skates where Romeo doesn't. Romeo and Juliet and Benedict and Much Ado About Nothing share a good deal. That fake your own death plot line, for example. There's tragedy in the comedy, there's comedy in the tragedy, because in life they're not actually separate.